Exapunks.
It's been a while since I've played a game that I found really difficult to put down, but this game, Exapunks, definitely ticks that box. So as always, I'm going to discuss whether it's worth your time and your money. We'll talk about whether this genre is for you by making some comparisons to other similar games. I'm going to talk about the difficulty curve on this game, and finally, as always, we will talk about what makes this game unique. Exapunks respects the player's time. There is no content included simply to pad out the game. This is a well thought out game and the quality is consistently high. It's not surprising because Zachtronics has a lot of experience making these types of games and it shows. If you have limited time to play games, you could easily just play one level at a time. Also, you can quit levels halfway through and jump back in at any time without losing progress. If you want to put more time into the game, there's enough content to do that as well. The median playtime is 23 hours and the main story will keep you busy for a while. And you can always replay levels to further optimize your solutions. This is a clever game for thoughtful people who enjoys a challenge. If that sounds like your kind of thing, I can guarantee that this is going to be worth your time. In terms of the price point, well, it sells for $20 on Steam on the regular price, and if you're into problem-solving games, it is definitely worth that amount. If you're uncertain about this genre, I'd recommend wishlisting it, as this game often discounts by as much as 50%, which means that you should be able to pick it up for around $10 or your regional equivalent. This game has over 95% positive reviews on Steam and it's earned that rating. It's very difficult to go wrong with this one. The only real question is whether you like challenging problem-solving games. If you have played and enjoyed other Zachtronics games, then you'll enjoy this one as well. If you haven't played Zachtronics games in the past, this game is most similar to Human Resource Machine in that it requires problem solving which is based on assembly language coding. Like Human Resource Machine, you don't need to know how to code to play this. Of course, if you have done coding, that will definitely ease the difficulty curve for you. On the other hand, the setting feels similar to Hacknet, although I wouldn't compare Exapunks directly to that because Exapunks is definitely the more challenging game and it will take longer for you to get into Exapunks compared to something like Hacknet, which is pretty easy to pick up. So let's talk about the difficulty curve. If you can play Human Resource Machine, you can play Exapunks. Exapunks is probably slightly more challenging, but the learning process is very rewarding. I'd recommend either printing the PDF magazine that acts as a manual or downloading it to your phone. Compared to other Zachtronics games, this manual is short and to the point, which I appreciate it. You'll probably spend an hour or two getting familiar with the commands, and from there you'll shift more and more to solving problems with what you've learned. Compared to other Zachtronics games, this is how Exapunks is rated. On the easier end of the spectrum, there is Opus Magnum and Infinifactory, and Spacechem is on the challenging side. Exapunks is somewhere in the middle, although I will say that all of the Zachtronics games are challenging. I wouldn't say any of these games you're just going to get into it and find them too easy to play, especially if I look at something like Spacechem, which is rated as a 4 out of 5 by Zachtronics themselves. I can only imagine what a 5 out of 5 would be like. The difficulty curve in Exapunks is a lot more manageable compared to something like Spacechem, so if you have played Spacechem and you found that really challenging, you will find Exapunks easier to pick up. So finally, let's talk about what makes this game unique. It manages to be very challenging and approachable at the same time. The levels are really interesting. There were cases where I was struggling to come up with a solution and I decided to go to bed for the night only to have a revelation 15 minutes later, causing me to get out of bed, start up my computer again, just because I couldn't wait to test out my ideas. It really is that compelling. And that's the beauty of Exapunks, because like most of Zachtronics games, there isn't just one solution. Technically, this isn't a puzzle game because that implies that the solution is out there for you to find. Instead, this is a problem-solving game because you create the solution as opposed to finding it. Once you have solved the level, you can still try to optimize your code in different ways. On top of that, the 90s neo-noir theme suits the game really well. The story is fine to move things along, and the chatter between the hackers in the game does a good job of immersing you in the experience. The soundtrack is fantastic, and between that and the graphics, it makes for an overall very immersive experience. That's it from my side. Let me know in the comments if you have tried Exapunks, what did you think of it, and what is your favorite problem-solving games? Have you played anything else like this? Do let me know because I do really like these types of games as well. Also, if you do like this kind of content, please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you for the next video.